5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire. The only thing we have to fear is fear.
Mile 18.
This is Endurance Nation.
Hey there, welcome to the Endurance Nation podcast. My name is Patrick McCran and I'll be your host. Every week I break down a different topic on endurance sports, training, racing, strategy, using Endurance Nation's 4 key values of consistency, community, camaraderie, and competition. Being an endurance athlete is not easy. You're juggling many different things, including time, resources, money, travel, work, life. It gets stressful at times, but what we do inside Endurance Nation is break things down to their basic building blocks. Make sure that you can put them into practice, whether you're training or racing, to make you a fitter, faster, and smarter athlete. We've been doing this since 2007 and helped thousands of athletes just like you reach their own personal best and the finish line that they've been chasing for a very long time. We look forward to helping you here on this podcast, but you can also follow us online at endurancenation.us, or if you're looking for a specific topic, just Google Endurance Nation and the topic. I'm sure we've got something. Otherwise, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Endurance Nation.
Hey everyone, it's Coach Patrick, and I'm here with Matt. Matt, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Outstanding. I'm super pleased to see that our heads are the exact same size today. I'm really striving to make sure that I'm 75 feet away from the camera while you're just 1 foot away so that my head remotely resembles the size of yours. Welcome to Dude Guy episode, I believe, number 5. I've already lost track. Excited to have everyone back. We've gotten more great feedback on how we're putting these episodes together. The goal here inside Endurance Nation is always to make sure that you're the most educated athlete you can be. We believe smarter athletes are faster athletes, stronger athletes, and just more interesting anyway. And part of the Dude Guy project is to do it in a more fun and casual way. So we have articles, we have podcasts, we have data, we could talk to you numbers and ones and zeros and training plans, sodium intake ratios all day long. But that only is so much fun. And we want to have fun while we do our jobs. The more fun we have while we do our jobs, the better we'll be. And so hence the Dude Guy episode series was born. And this week we got a couple topics. But first things first, I want to give a shout out to Matt, who basically found me hanging from a training cliff by one finger. Here I am, like hanging by one finger off training cliff, and helped pull me back on top exactly before I totally cratered myself. My 5-2 ratio of training workouts was a great while I was sleeping and recovering enough. And personal lesson, I'm just paying it forward to the community. It looks like when I stop sleeping enough, then your body runs into trouble, which I did. Surprise. So Matt saw the signs of how I took one and then put in with another one and created a huge problem, deciphered that complex situation for me, and has given me a plan to navigate me back. Super grateful for that and appreciate your expertise and insight as always. So thank you.
All in the good intent for you to crush your nemesis when you go to Mallorca and be plenty fit.
Indeed. Right. I'm so ready. I can't believe it. T-minus 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, I will be on a plane flying to Mallorca. Couldn't be more excited. A new kit day as well. So I'll be excited to, I'm not going to wear the kit on the plane, obviously, but I will be bringing the kit to Mallorca. so ready to ride. I will say, hey, you remember the days of everybody traveling to races, right? My big race travel experience was, and you go to random races, not so much, but when you fly, like when you fly to Ironman Hawaii, everybody on the plane to Hawaii for that week is pretty much doing Hawaii. So as you get closer and closer to your destination, there's a stronger density of triathletes that are getting on each plane. And there's certain signs that you can tell that more triathletes are getting on the plane, right? So let's talk about some of those.
As a carry-on.
Aero helmet as a carry-on. That's a good one. Compression socks. Also a good one. Yeah, Nike Vaporfly just to get on the plane. Just wear your 4%, because your plane could be 4% faster to Hawaii if you're wearing your Vaporflies on the plane. What else do we have? Come on. There's got to be some good stuff.
Lots of Zootwear, great backpacks, like $400 backpacks from Roca.
$400 backpacks. Oh, indeed. I'm guilty of that one for sure. Race shirts. Of course, you have to wear some form of race shirt. Ideally, you're wearing a race shirt from Hawaii from a previous year, which is like the massive flex to be like, oh, I was here and this shirt's like from 94, it's ripped and faded. And you're like a CEO. I got my favorite t-shirt. I just happened to find this before I got on the plane today. All right, what do triathletes do before they board? What are some of the things that they're doing?
Oh, obviously drinking a lot. So they drink, not drinking, but they're drinking like out of
super
a
hydrated
water bottle. Yep, super hydrated.
Plane full of triathletes, worst lines ever. It's in line for the bathroom, for sure. Yes, totally. Lots of watches, lots of beeping, for sure. People checking stuff, tracking stuff, checking in. I would notice that over my time doing the whole qualification piece, more and more social media. So lots of like pictures and selfies and stage things on the plane. Take your time boarding because I'm taking a picture of my seat with my Aero helmet in the seat before I sit down to then fly. So could the plane just wait a second until I get there, until we're there. Also, super fit families for the younger triathletes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's all good. I think it's all part of the good vibe. I think it's all just part of the experience. I think it's just fun to be. Ironman Oceanside was here in San Diego just last weekend. Yeah. And I was doing a training ride on Friday, and all those guys were op checking their bikes. There was disc helmets, there was stickers on Aero helmets, and like guys were riding up and down the coast. It was fun to see. It was fun to be part of the vibe. Yeah, so it's cool. But yeah, I think it's all part of the vibe. It's all fun. I think it's fun. It's all part of the experience.
Super serious. Like,
yeah, super serious. Lots of
anybody
serious.
ride it? Yeah. Anybody riding the wrong way? Like my least favorite part about triathletes on race courses is that because they're just trying to get race stuff done, but they're not where they live. They'll just do all sorts of stuff. They'll just cut across roads because I need to get there from here. And not that it's a highway or anything else. Like just crossing. Don't mind me. I'm wearing an outfit like a alien. Was everybody behaving out there in Oceanside?
Yeah, everybody was behaving. Yeah, behaving. There's a bike path that they're all checking their bikes on, and they'd ride. We were riding at each other. So I'm riding out, and one guy's riding back, and they'd be super Aero and all tucked. And then I would say, come out of the Aero to get more balance at the last minute. I was like, man, got to look up the road a little bit farther, man. But that's okay. Yeah, they're all checking the kit and stuff like that. But that's okay. That was good.
Yeah, there's a fine line between being super Aero and then also not really being able to operate your bicycle. Yeah, there's a fine line there. I am the fastest as a human I will ever be, but I can't. Like, I'll need something else. So maybe one of our topics today is talking about technology. Maybe we'll get to a place where we just have to assume the position on the bike and the bike does the steering. We don't have to do anything. It'll just issue a warning ahead to you. It'll say, alert, triathlete coming. And you just have to clear the bike path as this triathlete just goes down the road. I don't know. Who knows? Progress. So much progress. I will say the more progress we have, just all the more ridiculous we become, myself included. It's just the way that it is. All right. So topics for this week. We got a couple of them. All right. Let's see here. I'm going to pull up my little topic list. I have 2 and you have 2. Can I go first?
Sure.
Is that cool? All right, cool. Because I went over to Slow last week because I was like, all right, we need some topics. We need to know what's going on and what people are all talking about on the endurance spaces. And this was about talking about carb nutrition. So March 27th, Dr. Alex Harrison about carb nutrition in terms of what you can take in, like what's healthy for your gut, what's recommended for taking in. And one of the reasons why this always speaks to me is because it's not specific supplement based. Oftentimes you go to a site or read a magazine and it says this brand happens to have made the one best version. Anytime they say that, I just recommend that you change like whatever the supplement is or whatever the bike name is and just replace it with a person or a company that makes a phone or a dishwasher or any other implement. You would not be like, this is the ultimate dishwasher of all time. You'd be like, no, my dishwasher is fine. Why do you think that dishwasher is awesome? Just replace that so you can decode the mysticism they're trying to put you through as a consumer. So you're not sworn into something. This is much more just about the science and stuff like that. So always think anytime somebody says technology, you say dishwasher. All right. Nothing against dishwashers out there. Dishwasher, if you're watching this, you're totally fine. And so what they were talking about specifically was, I'm just going to read through this just so you know. So taking a look at the sugars and the type of sugars that are inside the drinks that you're choosing, specifically glucose and fructose, which are the 2 main types of sugars that are going to be in any type of energy drink that you have. And then you can kind of figure out how you're going to be getting carbohydrates in. There's also maltodextrin, which is a non-sugar related carbohydrate, but that's usually not the issue. It's the glucose and the fructose that get in there. And so the idea being for you is when you think about figuring out what your hydration ratio is. Most people get there by doing it wrong. And so you go out and you just start drinking stuff. You're like, someone said drink this much, or I did this complex equation and it told me to do this. So I'm just going to do what this equation says. And you end up in a place where you're like, I drank, insert the name of brand formula, and it's awful, brand company trying to kill me. So I'm just going to throw that one out. I know I just spent $85 on a small canister, but I'm going to throw it out and buy something else because obviously that drink doesn't work for me. And the truth is that when you think about consuming exercise, consuming fluids and calories during exercise, it's not so much about the brand per se as it is the actual what you're consuming, and it's important for you to be inside that area. And so I read this article and I was taking a look at what they were talking about. And the interesting part about carbohydrates, some drinks, and the key to note is that sports drinks that have multiple forms of carbohydrates coming in, like a 2-system delivery of carbohydrate, are better for you than a single source of carbohydrates. So if your drink only has fructose in it or only has glucose in it, doesn't have the other sugar, then you're in a position where should your stomach not like that single concentration, which often it doesn't, you're going to run into trouble. So you want to pick an energy or hydration source that has that dual carbohydrate delivery system. You can just see it on the back of a label. And they said, just so I can put it in here, you're ultimately looking for about 90 grams per hour for higher end endurance exercise in general. So they say that the saturation rate, I'm on the Gatorade Sports Science Institute right now, they say that the transport mechanism for glucose saturates at about 60 grams per hour. But if you need 90, then you need another mechanism to get in, right? Which is where we bring in the other elements. Sometimes it's fructose, sometimes it's glucose. Some people do maltodextrin and fructose, et cetera. There's a bunch of different options. But what we're looking for is that 90% element. And the ratio that they give me here, which is like a 2-to-1 ratio. Hold on a second. I want to get this right for you so you can see it. Hold on a second here. Good God, there's a lot of numbers on this page, and I'm sorry I didn't highlight this for you. Yeah, 2-to-1 ratio, sorry. In glucose to any other version. So if it's glucose and fructose, glucose and maltodextrin, et cetera. But the other piece that was interesting that I wanted to touch on here as well as we talk about this was that if it's more than 2.5 hours of continuous exercise, they recommend that 90 grams per hour of the multiple transportable carbohydrates. And that's independent of body mass. So it's not that if you're tiny, you only need 20 carbohydrates. And if you're enormous, you need 180. That's just the mechanism of transport in terms of how much you can take in per hour, which is irrespective of that. It's more dictated by the work that you're doing. So if you're doing continuous endurance exercise beyond 2.5 hours, 90 grams per hour is the max of what you'll be able to take in. And irrespective of body mass, you should be striving for that number. Thoughts, comments, questions from the peanut gallery? That's ridiculous, Patrick. Stop glucose. Stop fructose.
I think those are really good. And folks are looking at their sports drinks and stuff like that. Like I know Infinite allows you to kind of dial up and dial down. They got a little bar that you can slide back and forth. Right. They say, how long are you working out for? So if you're working out for more, if you're like an hour or so, they dial up the simple sugars. And if you're longer, then they dial down the simple sugars, dial up the maltodextrin and stuff like that. And I think I just go back to my experience of trying to figure out like what the carbohydrates work for me on the bike or even on the run. It ends up being a combination of something that's essentially a long burning sugar, like a maltodextrin or a complex or a solid versus a combination with a goo, with a fructose, glucose kind of combination and stuff like that. I think if you're unhappy with your current product, then before you just randomly select another product based on kind of what your comments on originally, like you could just go through all the marketing hype. And if you just bounce from one marketing hype to another marketing hype, you could just be bouncing from the same ratio that you didn't like in the first place to the same ratio. I went from company A to company B to company C and you're like, they all have the same ratio. It's like, so if you can understand what that ratio is that you don't like, that can help you weed out. Yeah. I guess the other thing that I would say that if folks are struggling with trying to find a nutrition solution that works for them hydration wise, the guys at the feed know that stuff. If like the feed.com, you could talk to their support line and tell them, hey, this is the experience that I have with a particular product. They understand what you're talking about with the different sources of carbohydrates in each one of the drinks. And they can walk you through ones that would be more towards your liking. because not all that stuff's available on the label. Like they just tell you what the ingredients are: fructose, sucrose, and maltodextrin, but they don't give you the ratio. Whereas the guys that might be able to help you with that. Anyway,
I love that. I love that. I will tell you, just to make sure everybody, that when you type that URL in your browser, it is the feed and not the Fed. You do not want to go to the Fed and tell the Fed.com what's wrong with your nutrition. It's all going to go wrong from there. Don't know what your position is on the size of government and overreach, but we don't want them inside your gut. That's for sure. I will say that something else to think about is diving down knowing what you're doing. So not just I have this canister of fuel that I'm using, but also say, hey, I was drinking 1 bottle an hour or 1 bottle every 2 hours or whatever you were doing. So when you buy product B, after making an educated decision about, okay, this is the composition of this mix and here's a new concentration of mix, that you're going to try the same thing. I'm going to go out and try and replicate that last ride that I had, et cetera. So go out and drink 1 bottle an hour, 2 hours. Oftentimes, athletes will just switch too many things at once, right? I mean, the actual trajectory is much more complex. They'll have a product that they don't like, but they don't really drink it anyway because they're not really drinking enough in the first place. And then the hype gets there and the workouts and the summer comes and all of a sudden, holy cow, I need to drink. They go from drinking very little of that mix to drinking a lot of it, which of anything that you're drinking usually doesn't feel so good to you because your body needs time to adapt, which is why we recommend practicing your sports nutrition every weekend for those long rides and runs, just to make sure that you've got it locked in. And then they're like, this doesn't work for me. It's terrible. And with limited time left to race day, the pressure's on, and that's where we start making poor decisions. So the sooner you can start the process of being like, do I really like this? Do I not like it? Does it work for me? Does it not work for me? The sooner you can start that process, the better off you'll be because you'll have more time to work with the product that you do have better alignment with. And you can move from starting with a good baseline product and then starting to make different decisions, right? Like maybe the product works well, but not with a huge bar, right? So maybe you need to use this product, but with gels, like Matt was saying earlier, or with some other form of carbohydrate. And it's a process that you have to go through. And it's important that you do start that early. Excellent. I love thefeed.com. We will send everybody to thefeed.com. They can thank us later, maybe sponsor an episode, who knows? And because dude guys say, go to thefeed.com and learn more about those products. Awesome. And start early. If you're not, the funny thing that I love about this is, okay, ready? Fast track. We're at the airport. Remember, we're going back. We're at the airport. We're about to get on the plane to Hawaii. And there's like a Subway. So you can get a sandwich before you get on the plane, like real food, not just really bad plane food. How do you know the person in front of you is a triathlete? What's their order?
Man.
What are the rules with their order?
Oh, man. Yeah. Typically.
Oh, they'd be like, hey, did you hand wash that spinach? And was that spinach organic? Because I only consume organic spinach. And the chicken, could you cut the cubes up a little bit smaller? I've learned over time that based on the size of the teeth and the ratio of my esophagus to the rest of my digestive tract, the smaller bite chicken is actually better. I'm so sorry. Could you change your gloves? I insist that your right glove be different than your left glove when you're assembling my sandwich. That's how picky we get with our everyday food, right? Like people don't want to serve triathletes. The skinnier you are and the fitter you look at a restaurant, the behind the scenes, the servers are like, I'm not going near that fucking table again. I'm not going to make eggs and divide it up and know that this is from this chicken and not that chicken. We do all of that in real life, but meanwhile, when we're on the bike exercising for high performance, we're like, who gives a crap? I'm going to eat anything. I'm just going to try 10 of these things. And I found a bag of pills on the ground. I'm just going to eat that too. And the disconnect between the social performative side of endurance sports of like, I can't possibly go to that restaurant. Did you know? And you're like, oh my God, is it owned by Al-Qaeda? And you're like, no, they have no idea where they source their chicken from. It's insane. Those people are maniacs poisoning the population. Like, oh, what's all over your face? It seems like there's stuff on it. You're like, oh, I have no idea. I was just shoving all forms of glucose and fructose in my face. I think I'm breaking out from the number of random exogenous carbohydrates that I've tried to stuff inside my face. No idea where they're from at all. Probably some factory. But they don't know where their chicken's from. Yeah, all right, that's off my chest. So sorry. But don't be the person. If you're going to be the person, let me put it this way. If I'm coaching you here on Endurance Station, if you're the person who's going to go out there and be crazy about your Subway order before we get on the plane and go to Hawaii, you sure as hell better have your nutrition dialed in on the bike, because I don't want to hear about stomach problems, because you obviously have bonded with your stomach. You've meditated with it. It's your one. It's all Zen, and you should be all set. There you go. All right. I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm off the soapbox now.
That was a good one.
All right. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna head over to Matt. You get to choose which one of the ones you want to talk about.
Since we're already hitting up supplements and picking different performance enhancers, we got a question from our community of listeners of what supplements would you take and what's a must-take supplement for you? And I am not a nutritionist by any or a dietitian or have any degree in such space. but I can tell you what has worked for me. And
Let's hear it.
you could. So I guess the one that I would take has to do with recovery. The two that I take have to do with recovery. I've tried all the weird, and is tart cherry. So tart cherry, either juice or a tart cherry that comes in a little capsule. I sleep great. Like I just take that stuff before I go to 20 or 30 minutes before I go to sleep. And it really helps me go to sleep. I don't know, like for whatever reason, it basically has the same kind of effect as a melatonin. Like I tried melatonin, but that really doesn't have the same impact for me. I don't know. But yeah, tart cherry is one that I would take. I got another one, but what about you? What one do you take?
Wow. I take all sorts of supplements. Obviously, you can tell how ramped up I am. I'm obviously eating all sorts of strange substances all the time. My number one supplement is obviously caffeine. I take way too much caffeine in my daily life, for sure. Mandatory Coach Patrick Alert supplement. I am taking creatine right now. I've been on a pretty consistent creatine regimen for the past couple months since the turn of the new year. And I was looking up the research on creatine, not so much from an endurance performance standpoint, because that research is only just coming out and it's, while proven for shorter burst exercises, not so much for long endurance. But just in general, like the cognitive benefits, just general strength. As I'm heading to the half century mark here as an athlete, want to be really mindful that I'm, staying strong and doing all those things. So I was like, I can add these little gummy chews to my life. They're called Create. The website's gocreate.com or @gocreate on Twitter. One little gummy is like 1 gram. So you can have 1 gram, 2 gram, 3 gram, 5 grams, like whatever you want to do with your dosing strategy that works for you. So that is definitely one go-to supplement that I have been using. I have no trouble falling asleep at all. I don't need tart cherry. I just stop drinking coffee and then I just pass out wherever I am. All right, your turn. Supplement number 2 for Matt.
Oh, supplement number 2. Yeah, I'd say fish oil. So I again with the recovery bit is that omega-3 in the fish oil and stuff like that. So you can get it from plants, and but it just makes it easier on your body if you get it from fish oil. There's 2 ADA and DHA that basically your body can make from ALA. But anyway, besides the science behind that, it helps you with the anti-inflammatory and then also just recovery and stuff like that. So, so omega-3, omega-3 fish oil. And I guess the only other thing, the last thing I would say about the supplement stuff is that there's also another site, Labdoor. And then there you can go and it'll tell you it'll tell you the purity of the supplement that you're looking at taking. So because a lot of the supplements aren't necessarily regulated, they could have fillers or they could not all be what is actually on the outside of the bottle and stuff like that. This particular company goes and tests all these brands to find out what is in the bottle and the purity that is in the bottle and stuff like that. If you wanted to know what the quality of your supplement, you can try labdoor.com and they'll tell you.
I gotta say, the people doing the really important supplement research, the Feed and Labdoor, are not spending money on marketing. So I bet they're really good at what they say they're doing. How many people have tried to look up Labrador and have ended up at Labdoor? I'm super curious to know. There's probably some way we could look on the Google search results for people who are like, worst dog website ever. Who cares? All right, I will laugh here because as we were talking, no joke, I'm not sure if you can see that, but the reminder, maybe backwards for the folks at home, but it says, feed the fish. My daughter is away right now, and her only reminder to me was like, feed my fish so my fish doesn't die. So I think it's hysterical that you said fish oil and feed the fish comes up. Just to be clear, I'm not consuming fish oil from my daughter's fish. I have consumed fish oil. I've tried both liquid fish oil. Never spill that anywhere inside your house. Otherwise, you just have to move to a new house. And I've also tried the pill form as well. For me, I just had a tough time digesting it. Like, I'm all about being healthy, but if being healthy means that I'm just burping a lot, that feels less healthy to me, even though it's possible that's a sign of complete gut health. I don't know. If it is, guaranteed the next time I fly to Kona, everybody on that plane will be burping. if science says indigestion is actually a sign of performance, then they'll be burping away. But I really struggled to absorb the fish oil in what I felt was a meaningful way.
Yeah, that is the side effect. That is a downside. Yeah. Important safety tip for those listening.
Important. So then I'll close out the supplement talk with my other piece, which is protein. So I definitely do protein and take protein, which reminds me of another uncommonly poor side effect, or very common poor side effect of too much protein, which doesn't come out of your mouth. but also smells bad. And have definitely done a lot of extra work on the protein side. So when I'm in general, there's 2 times that I'm using protein in a regular day. So one is morning breakfast. I'm a terrible breakfast eater. I'm usually up and working out. And a lot of people that I know fast in the morning. I do not fast in the morning. I cannot work out and not eat. It just doesn't work well for me. I've tried it. And so I eat when I work out. So I usually eat the equivalent of 200 to 300 calories an hour of fuel while I'm working out. And that could be at any given intensity. I don't eat more if I work out harder. I just drink more. And then sports beverages. And then when I go forward outside of my session, I need to eat something. But because I've been eating, I don't really want to eat. So I'm like, I just ate something. I'm fine. And then fast forward 2 hours after my morning training session is done, and I'm just making all sorts of poor nutrition decisions. So I'll have some sort of breakfast shake with a little bit of protein in there, which definitely helps solve where I'm at, which is helpful. And then the other side is at night. Jeremy Beeler, who's on the team, turned me on to Ascent Protein and do the Ascent Protein at night. It's really fine. The kind that they have is a casein, like CASEIN protein, which actually mixes really well. It's a slow release protein. You get all sorts of fancy flavors. I just stick with chocolate. So I put some of that, some cold water, a couple ice cubes, and I have that at night so that I'm not eating more. I'm having some protein. Hopefully it keeps me satiated overnight and go forward from there. So that's my other go-to supplement for sure.
Score.
Yes, Score. More brands that should obviously be sponsoring Dude Guy, except for the part where I go on some totally unrelated and probably socially irresponsible rant. Okay, next up for me, technology side. This is a good gateway into the technology side. An adjustable tire widget. Now, those of you who know when I'm riding, and I ride a fair amount on Zwift, I'm always like watching or consuming something. I have like a large screen TV in front of me, and then I have my laptop, and then I have my iPhone. So I've got 3 screens, which is perfect for my AD brain. And on my phone, I'm subscribed to GCN Plus. I got it a couple of years ago during the pandemic, and I've just kept the subscription, which allows me to watch race videos, either live on Saturday, Sunday when we're riding on the weekends, or also go back and watch replays, which is really cool. And the announcers on GCN do it right. If you've watched professional cycling on NBC and you've had Bob Roll or anyone else do the announcing, that's like beginner announcing. Having someone who's an actual like former cyclist who can pronounce the names of the riders and explain where the riders are and also give you the dynamics of the peloton. Oh, I don't know, say everything about being a cycling announcer. It's a completely different experience and it's amazing. So I definitely recommend checking out the GCN Plus app if you don't have it. And so they were doing, this is the classics time, so classics racing are happening. And just last week, this company, Jumbo Visma is the team, trialed this thing called the Grava KAPS, Kinetic Air Pressure System, ahead of Paris. And essentially, it's a widget that goes on the valve stem. So it's like protruding out of the tire, comes out of the valve stem. And it's basically puts like a cross. So your stem is up, and this intersects the valve stem right here. It's got a small tube, that goes up to the hub. And the hub is where the mechanism is. Let me tell you how it works, just real fast so you can see. Here we go. Ready? It's a high pressure clutch controlled pump, which is driven by the rotation of the wheel of the bike and is controlled by an electric print circuit board, PCB. And then tire pressure is controlled by a handlebar mounted control or an app on your phone. And so there's already a buffer reservoir, which is built into the hub, but it can also then fill with air over time once you've used it, much like a compressor would be at home. After you're done, like shooting nails into everything that you wanted to nail, and probably also other parts of stuff that you just thought would be cool to see if a nail would go into it, the generator runs out of pressure, has to cycle through again. So this also would do the same thing. So they say the hubs don't actually create any extra drag because it's just your regular hub. But interestingly, the idea behind the system is that it allows you to combat the loss of rolling resistance by letting riders change pressure when they're on cobbles, when they want to have a lower pressure to deal with the vibration. And then when they get back on the road sections and they want to start pushing it again, they can dial the pressure back up again to be a little faster. Thoughts on that? Like way too much geekery? Just right? You'd much rather prefer better bar tape or a seat post with some kind of a widget in it or something? What are you thinking?
Man, it's hard to say without experiencing it, but I think it's great for maybe Paris-Roubaix and that skill of rider. But for me, I don't think that would make a difference. But but for that rider and for that kind of rider and that kind of course where Paris-Roubaix, where you're on and off sectors, right? It's super chunky, can be, or you need the extra traction. It makes a big difference. The lower pressure would make a big difference. And then on the road section, we want a little bit higher pressure. Yeah, certainly being able to adjust that on the fly would be certainly helpful for them. But yeah, I think that's above my skill level for gadgetry. Look, I think that just becomes an expensive bike part to break.
No way. We use this all the time. Look at me right now. Like, clearly I'm taller than you on the video for those of you watching our videos, because you should always be watching our videos. And now I need to be lower, right? Oh, totally. Yeah. There we go. Ready? Look. Oh, I'm going to lower my tire pressure. Oh, look out. Here we go. Hey, you went up. Hold on a second. I'm back. See, now if we were racing, I might have had a gap right there, but now I can absorb it all. Your office chair already does this. For everybody listening at home who says this is ridiculous, I can see the value of it. And for me, at least, I think the point of shock absorption happening at the place where the shock is happening, i.e. the tires, is probably much more effective than saying Trek is going to create a new stem that has like special vibration capacity inside of it. Or they've sold bar plugs before that were like, these special bar plugs have things that go inside of them that will dampen the vibration of your handlebars. To me, that's just, it's not something that I would really see or notice. So to be able to take it back down again and say, hey, like I am actually, like you can tell when your tires are lower pressure or higher pressure as a discerning cyclist. I feel like that would be more effective. I bet it's cost a gajillion dollars, but it still sounds cooler to me. I don't know. I thought that was actually like a pretty interesting innovation for the road. Ever ridden, if you ride a mountain bike, I don't know, does anybody here ride a mountain bike?
Maybe somebody might.
Maybe. Okay. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't even own a mountain bike, so I don't ride one, but I've rented one, and having a dropper post on your mountain bike is amazing. To be able to be like, I'm in a different position on my bicycle right now and I'm advantaged. I don't know. I wouldn't shake your finger too much at this innovation. Who knows? My favorite part is if triathletes had it, they would just be like, I don't think it's working. So then they would just blow the tires on their own. No, they would just shoot themselves up, or they'd be riding on their rims because we would get it wrong. We would go too far. We would overinflate or we would underinflate, and no matter what happens, we're just not going to be happy. All right. Last piece of Dude Guy episode. We're 35 minutes. I can't believe people are still listening. If you are listening, you are a hero of Dude Guy.
Endurance.
So we're going to talk about Endurance Dude Guy, EDG. I am Keith Dude Guy, but there may be an EDG out there as well. But the EDG also a little lower on the totem pole. We can't go in any sort of conflict in the workplace, but you could be an EDG. We're friends. It's okay. We're closely related. Tell us about what technology thing you found that actually delayed the start of our Dude Guy podcast today. Nothing to do with me not being able to find this conference room.
All right. So once again, input from our listening community. We had someone post a video that a reviewer from Smart Bike Trainers does the intersection between Zwift workouts and what? Here's off the screen.
Yeah. You told me about the feed and then the lab door, and now you're also at smartbiketrainer.com. That's where
the video came from. I mean, the guy made the video. We gotta give him credit. He made the video. It's good.
Theclothesstore.com. Hey, I'm flying to Hawaii. How you getting there? I bought my ticket on the airplane ticket website.com. I'm so sorry. All right. Did you say, what was it? Smart Bike? What was it?
Smartbiketrainer.com or something. He does.
Bike Trainer.
I found him by going Smart Bike Trainers videos, and he does a ChatGPT to Zwift video. So you can.
All right. Forget. Go ahead. Take us to the chat. What is it? What happens here? So why is writing a Zwift workout so hard?
So what this guy does is with the advent of ChatGPT, everybody's trying to use ChatGPT for something. Like, well, ChatGPT essentially give me a workout plan, or how does it? And so he does a couple iterations of that. First, he's ChatGPT, write me a Zwift workout, and it ends up writing him a workout. It was pretty basic. I mean, he's like, okay, that's a pretty good start. But then he gives it more details. He says something like, hey, ChatGPT, give me a bike workout from a world-class cycling coach. My FTP is 300 or 280 watts, and I ride this many hours. Write me a cycling workout. So ChatGPT then writes him a Zwift file. So those of you that are Zwift nerds out there know that when those files that you get from Zwift are written in a specific language to Zwift, and the end of the file is .zwO, and you have to follow a certain set of syntax to make that file work and make it show up in your Zwift. But so the ChatGPT writes him a single workout, and in that code that then he uploads to Zwift, it has a warm up and a cool down, and ChatGPT explains to him what he's supposed to be doing during each part of that workout. You're going to ride 4 by 4 minutes for this particular reason, and then gives him some coaching notes and everything like that too, which is actually pretty impressive for ChatGPT. Yes. At the very end of the video, he has some interesting insights about the ability of ChatGPT to replace coaches or to give you a workout. But I think his biggest learning point, or the part that was most interesting to me, was that like some of the training software that we use to follow our training, whether it's Strava or Training Peaks or Final Surge, or you name the training application you're going to use, there's definitely a utility for AI to be able to comment on your workout post looking at your workout, which nobody right now in the industry is taking that on right now. Or the other thing that he could prompt you good questions to ask you after your workout so you can make better comments about your workout. I think he does a really good discussion about where some of the limitations are of getting your workout from ChatGPT, right? Like you can ask ChatGPT to do things for you, but they may come out sideways. So it's not always going to be perfect. And then certainly your relationship with the coach is certainly really important about being able to read you. Like you mentioned at the beginning, you were hanging off the cliff on your own training before talking to somebody, and that ChatGPT may or may not be able to figure that out for you just yet. But
indeed.
So yeah, that's the quick lowdown on the video. But yeah,
I love it. I love it. First of all, like ChatGPT does answer you. So unlike most of our listeners whose coach never answers them ever, it'd be nice to get an answer back. So some people may be happy with ChatGPT just because it writes them back. I'm paying all this money for this thing. I never get an answer. Like this real world coach thing is broken, but ChatGPT, even though it's giving me a recipe for cooking, is way better because it talks to me. I just wanted to add one more platform to your list of ones for Training Peaks and Strava and Final Surge, which is I've just signed up for thetrainingplatform.com, and I'll be using that going forward for my new training platform. I'm totally on your radar now. No, I will say, so I'm super bullish on AI. Just for those of you who don't know, when I'm not being ridiculous on podcasts or writing workouts or communicating with the team or doing my real job or being a school committee board member or trying to be a parent and a really bad one at that, I spend lots of time online playing with technology and using it to work with different types of communities. And so I'm super bullish on AI because I think it gives ordinary people superpowers with technology. In this case, it's allowing the average person who wants to write a Zwift workout to be able to write it without having to learn syntax, proof syntax, figure it out. If you can have it set up eventually just to be able to go in and say, hey, look, coach says I need to do, or I know I need to do an hour of time today. I've got to ride for an hour and at least 20 minutes has to be at this intensity. What are my options? So you could see some sort of cascading process where people would say, hey, I have to ride for an hour today and I need to do 20 minutes in zone 4. My zone 4 is this much wattage. Otherwise, I want to be at this much wattage. What are my options? And ChatGPT, if, tweaked a little bit, right, would be able to come back and say, 20 minutes, you can do it as 4 by 5 minutes. You can do it as 2 by 10 minutes. You can do 20 by 1 minute. You can do whatever, and they can give you a bunch of different options. You can say, I like option 3. And you'd be like, okay, so you choose option 3. It says, great. So then you can say, I want you to write me a workout for option 3. So they write you the workout and say it's got 20 minutes warm up, 20 minutes of downtime, and it's right in the middle. So you can say, oh no, I want my 20 minutes of intensity to come earlier in the workout or later in the workout or whatever that may be. You can tell to do that. And it would be able to effectively move those pieces around to make the workout that you want to do work for you online. Right now, the way that people consume free workouts is they just go searching for them and they'll find something that has the criteria they want, an hour, which is usually the sorting mechanism, and then the type of workout. But most people choose workouts by what they see on the screen in terms of colors and shapes. Like they say, I see lots of spiky things and they're all red. Give me that. Like, I'll take spiky red things. So they're like, ooh, I like really flat things that are blue. Like, give me flat blue. Like, I want a pond. And people are choosing by like random shapes and sizes, which is basically like how I'm imagining Neanderthals communicated. You would draw like a fish and you'd be like, stay away from that guy's house. He's consuming fish oil. His breath smells like crap. I can't communicate that in my super artificial language. But I can tell by that symbol. That's how we choose workouts now. So to be able to bring the complexity that we want as athletes to our training interface by just using our voice to say that to happen would be incredible. I'm not sold on the ChatGPT would be able to help you make the right decision with your training. ChatGPT could be a friend if you say, listen, I'm really frustrated with my training because I'm sick. ChatGPT will say, I'm so sorry to hear that you're sick. Have you tried doing X, Y, or Z? Have you gone to the I'mASickAthlete.com to find a solution? If those are the suggestions your ChatGPT interface is giving you, it was coded by Matt. I'm telling you right now. But I am super bullish on that side, which I think will be really helpful. And you can see eventually, aside from making my race photos look better by being like, hey, GPT, please make me look 20 years younger and put some abs in there. You could eventually use something like that kind of technology to say, here I am on a bicycle. What would it look like if my hands were an inch down? If my seat was a little further back? Or based on the position that I'm in right now, what frames fit inside these measurement parameters? And it could go search a database of all available bike frames and literally put them in there. Since we're consuming visually, for you to be like, oh, give me a Canyon, give me a Trek, give me Calvin. I don't even know what other bikes are. I only know 2 bikes. Because that's Cervelo. There you go. I need another bike brand. Woo! That you could actually see it there. I think that'd be really powerful for people. So anyway, that's it. That's the Dude Guy.
That's it. Yep. There you go.
That is awesome. Awesome. Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. That was episode number 5. We think, we're not sure. Dude Guy's not so good on the counting side of things, although we do know how many fish oil pills Matt consumed this morning. And obviously, I've had 5 cups of caffeine already today. Stay tuned for the episode. We try to do these every 2 weeks, and we may be ramping up that process. Other elements that you should know about if you've listened this long, which is highly unlikely. Endurance Nation, go to endurancenation.us so you can learn more about the team. endurancenation.us/join. We'll take you to a place where you can sign up, get some more information about the team, and learn more about the insights. So get your training plans from real people who make ridiculous jokes all the time. And we're not a robot. Guaranteed, nobody would ever make a robot like me. And last but not least, reminding you all to be smart, be safe out there when you're out training. This is the time of year for us right now, recording this episode, where people are beginning to migrate outside with their workouts. Matt said all those athletes on the bike path probably haven't steered a bike in a while in the real world. Not to see, you can't just ride through people like you do in Zwift. So just make smart decisions out there on the open road. Take care. We don't want you to miss another Dude Guy episode. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See ya. Dude Guy.
Dude Guy.
For more information about Endurance Nation, visit us online at endurancenation.us. The provided music is from the Podshow Podsafe Music Network. Check it out at music.podshow.com.